-12 already taken. Bench boost is activated, and we're looking to play the free hit in game week 37. Let's do a play-by-play for the final game weeks of the season, and I'll tell you exactly why this is my strategy. So jumping over to livefpl.net, this is free. It's not sponsored or anything. I just personally use this to check my rank and to plan my transfers. Why have I bench boosted? I've bench boosted to cover my -12. These transfers that I've made have pretty much set me up for the rest of the season. But you're probably thinking, why? Why are you using a chip to cover your hit costs? Well, thankfully I spoke to the account livefpl.net on Twitter, and I asked them, I was curious, how many? So I'm now ranked 90, I think I'm about 92,000. I asked them how many inside the top 100k, so they are my rivals, I'm trying to beat, how many in the top 100k still have the bench boost left remaining? And just under 50% still have the bench boost. So there's 50,000-ish managers that still have their bench boost and 50,000 that have already used it. So if I'm trying to jump ahead, I'm at the latter end of the top 100k. If I'm trying to jump ahead, they've already used the bench boost. So me using it to set up my season nicely, hopefully for the rest of the season, means that that's fine. Half of my opponents have already used it. So me using a bench boost to cover my hits doesn't mean anything to me because I'm still up 50,000 people. Also, I've said time and time again before, I feel as though the bench boost is not an overrated chip, but it's one that I think negates our team when we hold on to it too long. Now, a lot of people are going to be using it in game week 36. It's supposedly the biggest game week, double game week in the entire season, and I completely understand that. But again, I always bring it back to this point. The quality of the players that you're bench boosting is never high quality. It's probably going to be similar to mine, a Brozier, a Hwang, for example, at Wolves. And it's just not a particularly great strategy, I think, to keep money for so long just so you can have one good 15-player double game week, when I think I'll earn more rank by taking money off my bench. After this bench boost, in 2 weeks, I'll sell Wood from a 6.7 million player to a 4.5 million, which gives me 2.2 million in the bank. And that money goes straight into my starting 11. And I feel as though me having an additional 3 or 4 weeks with another 2.2 million in my starting 11 is going to benefit me more than holding on to it and just using it in double game week 36 and using a bench boost on players that I just don't feel as though are actually worth holding on to. So why am I not free hitting in game week 33? Why am I holding it for 37? Use your own brains, use a pen and paper, use a transfer planner, and just have a look at what your team looks like now, what your team looks like in game week 36, and what your team looks like in game week 37. When I jumped forward to 36, I already had 11 players, but I've already said I don't want to hold players and waste the money on my bench just so I can bench boost poor quality players in game week 36. I've got a good 11, I can add some quality to that and have 11 strong double game week players with one double game week player on my bench. So I don't need to free hit in 36. So then it became 33 against 37. And for me, it boiled down to quality and what teams are fighting for at the end of the season. So game week 33, Manchester United are probably the most obvious team that you want to probably double with. I know they've got Liverpool, but they have Norwich at home. And if you are free hitting and you don't have like 2 Manchester United players, I don't see the value in it because then you're just free hitting single game week players. What's the point in a double game week? So when I compared the quality of double game week players from 33 and 37, 37 felt better. Another reason is I have fewer double game week players for 37 than I do for 33. So I had Ramsdale doubling and White doubling already. I've got Saka doubling already, Barnes doubling already, Broya and Dubravka doubling already. But 37, I only had 3 or 4 players. I think the fixtures in game week 37, so Villa have a very nice double game week against Crystal Palace and Burnley. Burnley also have a double game week if you just want some bench fodder. Chelsea have a double game week. Crystal Palace have a nice double game week against Villa and Everton. Everton have a potentially vital and very nice double game week against Brentford and Crystal Palace. You've got Leicester against Watford and Chelsea. And you've got Wolves at home to Norwich if you maybe just want to throw a defender in there. And Spurs have got, if you don't have triple Spurs, Spurs have got Burnley at home. The potential, I believe, in game week 37 is there for a better free hit than it is in 33. And coming back to the point I made as well, It's what are the players fighting for? If we get to game week 37 and Chelsea have got third place sewn up, can't get caught for 4, but they've got the FA Cup final and the Champions League final. In their games against United and Leicester, yeah, they'll probably play the best team against Manchester United, but then they'll probably rest players against Leicester if they're about to play in some cup finals. Or it's just after cup finals because they need to rotate. For example, I had Thiago Silva. I'll come to my transfers later, but he's out. He's probably going to play both games. So do I want to have a Chelsea defender against Manchester United away? Or do I want to choose a team that's got something to fight for? So if we're going into the final 3 games of the season and Everton are still fighting to stay up, and they've got a nice double home fixture against Brentford and Crystal Palace, who'll have nothing to play for, then I think a triple up on someone like Everton will pay off. If we go back to this double game week 33, you can argue Arsenal have got something to fight for, but they've got Chelsea away. That's not a great fixture, and they've got Southampton away, which is nice. A lot of us have already got Arsenal anyway. You go to Brighton, they've got Spurs and City both away. You're not going to really want them in your side. You got Burnley, who have been just hugely disappointing. They've just lost at home to Norwich. They're probably on the way down, but they are still fighting. But who are you going to bring in? They can't keep clean sheets. They can't score. They've got West Ham away and they've got Southampton at home. Again, not terrible fixtures, but do I want to free hit Burnley players? No, is the simple answer to that. Leicester have Newcastle and Everton. So you could use your transfers to bring in maybe Barnes, Maddison, Fofana, Schmeichel. You can use to bring them in now because they've only got one difficult fixture, which is Spurs for the rest of the season, who also have something to fight for. But they've got double game week 33, double game week 37, and double game week 36. So you don't want to free hit. You want to bring them into your permanent squad. So you could free hit for triple Leicester, but they're also about to play in Europe in the second leg against PSV. Are they going to get rested? Because they're more focused on that because the Premier League is pretty much nothing. So again, you're going to free hit for Maddison and Barnes and Schmeichel. Maddison and Barnes and the outfield players are likely going to play one of these 2 games. You come to Manchester United. That's the one that people want to free hit. But again, you look at Manchester United. Do you want to free hit for 3 Manchester United players when one of those fixtures is Liverpool? And they've just been absolutely terrible. And you can argue they've got nothing to play for now. Then you've got Newcastle. They've got Leicester and Palace. They still want to secure the Premier League status. I understand that. But again, are you going to free hit for 3 Newcastle players? No, I've got 2 of them. I already had Dubravka. I brought in Shaw. Even if you just got 1 for those 2 fixtures, I've actually got 3. I've tripled up on Newcastle. I just realized when I get to my transfer plans, 2 of them will be gone in the next 2 game weeks because I've got Norwich in the next game week. But again, if you free hit Newcastle players, you've got them for this double game week, but then you won't have them for Norwich. So maybe just potentially transfer one of them in. Southampton just got battered by Chelsea, nothing to play for. One of the 2 games is against Arsenal. And the second one, they're going to Burnley. And again, Burnley are fighting for staying in the Premier League. You don't know what's going to happen there against a team that's got pretty much nothing to play for. So basically, in a nutshell, 37 for a free hit. 36, we don't need it because I've got more than enough doublers. I don't have a bench boost. Game week 37 compared to 33, I think the quality of the players to choose from is better in 37, and we'll have an idea of who is playing for what in game week 37, so you can avoid those quote-unquote holiday teams. So let's go through each transfers then for the rest of the season and why I think the -12 could pay off, because I honestly think pretty much every single game week gives me a sea of green fixtures for my starting 11. Pretty much every single game week except when Barnes is playing it against Spurs. So the transfers you can see this game week, -12 taken, bench boost is activated. Thiago Silva is out. He's got Arsenal at home, so he's just got 1 fixture in double game week 33. And I mentioned before, great to bring Chelsea players in, but as of now, they're still in Europe, but they've got a lot to do against Real Madrid. And they've got the FA Cup as well. But I do think there's going to be a heavy rotation once that 3rd place is sealed for the European champions. Davis of Spurs, he had to go out because Kulusevski's come in for me. Rafinha's gone out and Roberts at Burnley. Now, the Roberts one was a bit annoying. He's just lost his place back to Lowton at right back. He's been the right back for most of the season, and unfortunately, he's lost his place right on double game week. It was a transfer I didn't particularly want to make yet. It's an additional -4 that I've taken, but I'm not holding on to a player who looks like he's lost his place for a double game week because that would just frustrate me more. I'd rather do a -12 and have 4 hopefully playing players rather than sit there with Roberts, who's likely not going to play either of them. Who I brought in? Fofana of Leicester, 4.3 million. He's he's in Leicester's best play, in Leicester's best 11. He's just back from injury. I know that's not ideal, but I do think they're going to have to give him some match fitness towards the end of the season. And of course, Leicester double in 33, they double in 36, and they double in 37. Shaw comes in to give me that double Newcastle defense. So they've got a double game week this game week against Leicester and Palace. And next game week, I'll stick with Dubravka and Shaw in my starting 11 because they've got Norwich. I've brought in Kulusevski, so that's why Davis had to go out. He's fine in defense if I've got Davis, but I just think that triple attack of Spurs value. I already had Son and Kane for many weeks now, but to stick Kulu in there as having all three protects my rank, and also having all three banging together just feels the way. Double game week 36 for them is pretty difficult, but every other week for Spurs is pretty sweet, and they are fighting for top 4 and leading that race. So again, I'm bringing in players that have got something to fight for. And Matip, he's easily the partner for Van Dijk. He's 5 million. He plays in like the joint or second best defense in the league. So I've got no problems. And also the Matip and Trent double up means that a Liverpool clean sheet means even more to me having 2 Liverpool defenders instead of just Trent, because Trent's so highly owned, but having a double Liverpool clean sheet really will help me there. Bench boost is active, so all 15 players here are playing. Just in case you guys are listening and not watching, that is Ramsdale and Dubravka as my 2 goalkeepers. Ben White, Fofana, Shaw, and Matip. Heung-min Son, Saka, Kulusevski, Salah, and Barnes. And up front, Kane, Wood, and Broja, with a lot of double game weeks with some strong single game weeks there. And again, if the bench boost just covers my -12, then I'm happy. I already said 50% in the top 100k have already used their bench boost. And I think the other one's holding on for 36. They're not bench boosting quality, but we'll come back to that another time. So what am I planning to do in game week 34? Simple answer is nothing. The -12 in 33 sets me up nicely. I already said keeping 3 Newcastle players in here who have Norwich away. Newcastle are still trying to secure their own Premier League status as well. And again, look at the sea of green. Double Liverpool defense at home to Everton, with Salah in there as well, of course. I've got the 3 Spurs boys going to Brentford. I've got Barnes at home to Aston Villa, and I've got Saka, who's a grey fixture against Manchester United. But again, Arsenal are trying to get top 4, so it's something to fight for. Ramsdale on the bench with Fofana, Broja, and White. Arguably, I could play Fofana against Aston Villa at home, but I'm going to play the attacker rather than defender in that situation. So let's get on to game week 35. This is where we make some moves, because like I mentioned before, taking the -12 for 3 Newcastle, just for those 2 game weeks. 3 games in 2 game weeks and really good fixtures as well. But Wood goes out all the way down to the cheapest possible player. I went for Greenwood, 4.5 million, because he's had some time at Leeds, but pretty much 4.5 million striker slot is just dead. He's just going to sit third sub for the last like 3 game weeks of the season, which gave me about 2.2 million to pump into my starting 11. So as you can see, Shaw, who is going to play at home to Liverpool, he goes out, and I bring in a Chelsea defender, Rudiger. Now that isn't set in stone, because by the time we get to game week 35, something else might have happened. There might be an injury, but it was just an example to show you that by taking that forward and not having a bench boost and just having my third sub being a 4.5 million nothing, my quality has gone from a Shaw to a Rudiger. And again, I'm not trying to have a pop at Shaw or Newcastle, but a Newcastle defender against a Chelsea defender, I could make that Laporte. At Man City, I could bring a Man City defender. It was just I put Rudiger in there just to give you a visual example of the move that I could make. So Wood down to the cheapest possible forward, and then Shaw up to a really solid Chelsea, or a solid defender. And I chose Chelsea because obviously game week 36 they double, game week 37 they double, but like I said, it's just for an example. As we get to the big double game week 36, where the other 50% of the top 100k might be playing their bench boost, again, I'm still not that worried, because the team that I'm taking in at 36 is strong. And again, I'd rather have a stronger 11 all doubling than against a bench boost where they've had to sacrifice some quality in the starting 11 just so they've got a decent bench boost. So White would be the one to miss out for me here. and it would be Ramsdale, Matip, Rudiger, Trent, Fofana, Barnes, Salah, Kulusevski, Maddison, Son, and Kane. So I said pretty much good game weeks. I know the Spurs boys have a really, really difficult double game week. I was contemplating playing my free hit in 36, but then I thought that would be a bit silly. Yes, I could bring in, if Man City double in 36, I don't have any Man City right now. It felt silly to free hit a full 11 of double game week players, and then in game week 37 just have a few double game week players, so it didn't make sense. That is also, free hit in 37 gives me the opportunity as well to catch up. So if this ends up being a really successful bench boost for people, I'll go into game week 37 and I'm going to free hit straight back at you, because I'm going to have 11 or probably 9 or 10 in my starting 11 being double game week players. So it's a bit tit for tat at this point. If this isn't a great double bench boost for people, if it is a great bench boost for people, I'm going to come back fighting in game week 37 with the free hit. So as we go into game week 37, there's pretty much nothing here right now because I haven't made a free hit 37 squad. But previously, earlier in the video, I discussed teams that I would target. Maybe bring in a Villa player, maybe a Crystal Palace player as well. Probably triple up on Everton if they're still fighting for survival. Leicester player, maybe triple Chelsea again if they're having to fight for something. 37, no plans yet, but that is free hit, so there's nothing sorted there. And then I pop out in game week 38, and I've got a free transfer to improve this. And my last day of the season, again, even my subs have almost a sea of green here. Ramsdale and White have got Everton at home. Rudiger would have Watford at home. My two Liverpool, Matip and Trent would have Wolves at home. The three Spurs lads have got Norwich away. And my two Leicester boys would have Southampton at home. And we know what Leicester can do to Southampton. And if they're playing for fun in front of the Leicester crowd there, who knows what could happen. That is why I'm bench boosting and taking a -12 now, and why I'm saving my free hit all the way until game week 37. Thank you for watching today's video. If you could hit like and subscribe, that would be fantastic. Also, on Spotify, check out my podcast From Outside the Box. I have put a couple of episodes on here. It's more of thinking of plans and strategies and different plans rather than just chatting about people's game weeks. Let me know in the comments below as well what your plans are for the rest of the season. What do you think of my bench boost -12 plan and my free hit 37 plan? Hopefully I'll see you all soon, and as always, have a good one.